This here is the Chess Challenger, a chess computer first published in 1976. And the first one was called the CL1, or the CC1, the Chess Challenger 1. It had a lot of manufacturing errors as a result of the company behind it rushing it to market to be the first ones to make a commercially available chess computer. This one is from 79. It is the CC7, which is the first version of these that was, didn't have all the bugs, but was just worked. And it's from 79, but it still works like a charm. Let's plug it in. Today, this machine here, which is the first, I'll repeat, the first chess computer that was commercially available, the Chess Challenger. And it's not the one from 76 because it practically didn't work. You practically couldn't play it. This is the first one where you actually could play it. And today we will pit this piece of chess history and tech history against the ChessUp board here, which is from 2021, and it has just been updated today. So this is the state-of-the-art chess computer technology that is commercially available. So let's power it up. Okay, first let's set the level here. We will set it for level 7, and then we will press CB so that the machine will play with the white pieces, and it will think it's playing against the human, or it's a machine doesn't think, but it's programmed to play so we can make the black moves, and it starts with D2 to D4. Then I will take my phone here and I will open the ChessUp app. So the board automatically connects to the app via Bluetooth, and then I will say I will play a new game. I will play against the AI, and I want to play with white. And then I will start the game like so. So I'll put the phone here so you can see that's part of the tech setup that we are doing. And the Chess Challenger played pawn to d4. So we will also do that. And I should, by the way, before we get any further into this video, I should say that if you, during the course of this video, find out you like this chessboard, the ChessUp, if you like it so much that you want to buy it, then I have good news for you. There is a link in the description and in the pinned comment on this video. If you use that link, you will get 10% off, and you will also support this channel. Okay, so D4 was the first move Chess Challenger played, and the version of Stockfish that this chess computer runs played pawn to d5. So in 1979, when this thing over here was made, it was a little bit more difficult to input the moves. This thing just does it automatically, but here we have to actually tell the computer what was played. So ChessUp board, or the Stockfish software in the ChessUp board, played d5. So we will see A, B, C, D, and it's D7 to D5, and enter. And the machine then plays c2 to c4, which is the queen's gambit. c2 to c4. And okay, the chess challenger's gambit is accepted. So we see the ChessUp board play d takes c4. So pawn takes pawn like this. And does the chess challenger know the opening theory here? Or will we get a little lesson in how to punish white if they don't know how to deal with this? So after c4 we saw the pawn on d5, so we will input to c4 and enter. And now we can see it starts thinking. That means it is now out of book. It didn't have pre-programmed. It didn't have this move pre-programmed. So it's very basic chess technology we have here in the chess challenger. But let's see what it comes up with against the queen's gambit accepted. Okay, so it plays g1 to f3, so it is already behind a pawn. This is the move here. The correct move is, maybe this is also a theoretical move that's just not so popular. The two main moves here are pawn to e3, which is what I play, and pawn to e4. And and I should say also that I am speeding up. It actually takes a couple of minutes for the chess challenger to come up with a move for every move, but I'm speeding that up so you don't have to wait. Okay, so we will play this move here on the board. And by the way, you can see it lights up a green square and a red square. That's because I have a help function set on for the ChessUp board. So it will say, okay, to go to the green square here, that is the recommended move in this situation, and to go to the red square, that would be a mistake. So we will go here, which is a recommended move. So probably this is maybe theory somehow. Now we can see it wants to play pawn to a6, so it actually wants to play pawn to b5 and solidify this pawn that it has won. And it could be very interesting to see how the chess challenger will try to get that pawn back. Like usually in the queen's gambit accepted in this opening, the wisdom is it's fine for black to capture the pawn, but if white plays correctly, black cannot hold on to the pawn and will have to give the pawn back. But maybe this knight to f3 move is not strong enough to reclaim the pawn. So let's see. Pawn to a6. So I will say a7 to a6 and enter. Okay, let's see what it comes up with. e2 to e4. So this move here. And maybe I should advertise my business here, selling these boards a little bit more. So this chess board here, the ChessUp, is not just that you can play against it and you can play against a super strong chess computer. You can see it has all these ways of lighting up squares in different ways, and that allows you to do a whole lot of things with the board. It can teach you openings, it can teach you basic end games, you can play online against other people on Lichess or whatever, So it can do a lot of things. Okay, but pawn to e4 is the move here, and let's see what the AI comes up with against this. Yes, as we were thinking, pawn to b5, protecting this pawn here, but allowing white to establish a huge center here. So I would say that the chess challenger is not doing too badly out of the opening, even though it got out of its pre-programmed opening book already on move 2. It has played some sensible moves so far. Okay, so we will input the move here, b7 to b5. Let's see what it comes up with. c1 to f4. So it's developing a bishop here. Kind of happy it wants to play this bishop out, because I noticed that this one is placed not perfectly on the square here. So now we can move that to f4. So I will say the chess challenger is doing a great job here of actually taking control of the center, establishing dominance with the pawns, and developing the pieces in a logical fashion. What is the problem? The only problem is it's not getting this pawn back, which could be a very big problem. So we see bishop to b7, so c8 to b7. Let's put that in. Okay, we see b1 to c3, so developing the knight. So the chess challenger has gambited a pawn, given up a pawn, for a very principled opening system here, with 2 pawns in the center controlling a lot of squares. 2 knight develops, controlling all 4 center squares, like so. And the bishop is also out and active. So what is the problem? The problem is still down a pawn. How will ChessUp and Stockfish claim that that is a mistake by white? Let's see. We input the move knight to c3. And let's see what it comes up with. Okay, it plays pawn to e6, like so. So opening up for the other bishop here, and also saying you can't come too close here. Now I am also contesting some of these squares in the center. Okay, let's input the move. e7 to e6. Okay, the machine had its longest think there so far, and it came up with f3 to g5, which I think is horrible move here, but I may be wrong. It just seems as if we should try as white here to not make some attack that's not going to work, because we don't have sufficient development. I guess it wants something like queen h5 and come in checkmate here. That's not going to work against the ChessUp board. I think we should find a way to develop this bishop instead, try to undermine or challenge the structure over here and getting castled. I don't believe this is a very strong move, and if you watched some of my other videos, you know there is a principle that I like very much in chess. That is, don't move the same piece twice in the opening unless you have a very good reason. I'm not sure the chess challenger has a very good reason, but maybe it does. Let's see. So you can see here, it gives a green square here. So it says that could be a recommended move, but all the others are red squares. It thinks that this is a bad move. The board ChessUp board does. And it plays knight out in response. Knight to f6. Let's input that. g8 to f6. Like so. And let's take stock of the situation while the chess challenger is thinking here. So with this move here, knight to g5, the chess challenger gave up a lot of the advantage it had. The one thing it could claim that it had in compensation for the pawn that it had given up was an advantage in development. Now by moving the same piece twice, it gave up that advantage in tempo, and now it's just down a pawn, and it's being attacked here in the center. We can see soon a move like pawn to h6, kicking this knight away. When this knight will move, this pawn here on e4 will only be protected by a single knight, and then it will be attacked by two pieces here. That is one plane. We can also see something like bishop coming out to b4 and pinning this knight, and I think we will see the ChessUp board launch a counterattack, or just a counterattack very quickly, and I think we will see white get into trouble quite soon, and I think the real mistake here is moving this piece twice. There's just not justification for that. Black's situation here is too solid. I don't believe you can make an attack based on this move that is going to force black to do any kind of concession here. But let's see what the board comes up with, the chess challenger, after it sees knight to f6. Okay, what's going on here? We see a2 to a3. So that's very interesting. It goes here. So that probably means that it is afraid of this move, kicking the knight away. And then it means that it is seeing that the ChessUp board is going for this pawn here. Black is coming for the e4 pawn. The problem is, I guess, a move like this one, h6, will also kick the knight, and the pawn will still fall. So let's see. It says it's a mistake. You can see here it marks up red because of the lighting. It could be a little tough to see that it's a green here, but that's the recommended move. So the ChessUp board actually likes white to move the a pawn, but it wants to challenge this phalanx of pawns here, and it says that this is a mistake, and I guess we will see pawn to h6, exactly, pawn to h6, kicking the knight away. So we see h7 to h6 and enter, and now the chess challenger is really in trouble. It's behind with a pawn. It has lost its edge in control of the center and in development. It's no longer ahead in piece development. It doesn't have control most squares, and it's about to lose, I think, this pawn here on e4. So let's see what the board thinks that white should do here. It actually likes to push this pawn and attack here. It likes that, so what I'm thinking is pawn push, attack the knight, but pawn takes knight, and if pawn takes knight, then pawn takes bishop. So it's a little sad if that is the best white can do in this situation. Okay, knight back to f3 is also a recommended move, and everything else I guess is red, 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 and red. Yes. So let's see. I guess we will see knight to f3. I don't think we will see pawn to e5, but let's give the little chess challenger some time to think or calculate or whatever we can say a machine like this does, and I will be back when it's done. g5 to f3, that is what we expected. I guess it's also the best move. But now the e4 pawn is in trouble. It is captured by the knight, and white is now down 2 points, 2 pawns here in the material count, and the control of the center has been shattered. Let's quickly input the move. So it's f6 to e4. And while it's calculating, let's see if we can make sense of this situation. Black is up 2 pawns and has this wedge that makes it hard for white to develop the light squared bishop. Has a very strong knight here. It can be chopped off, but it's of course protected by the bishop. Maybe I should show what I'm thinking about on the larger board here. Maybe it's a little bit easier to see. So yeah, there's this wedge in here that was established. That was the first strategical idea that we saw from black, establishing this wedge and winning a pawn. And now black has won another pawn here in the center and established a piece here, so it can be chopped off, but then we will get a bishop here, which could also be pretty nasty. And maybe we will even see black try to come for this other pawn here. Yeah, I think it's time if white will try to salvage some of the problems white has created for itself, or rather maybe black has created them for white with the very strong play. Maybe it's time to get castled here. Try to play something like bishop to e2. That's also actually a recommended move I can see. What do we have any recommended moves? So here you can see all the red ones are deemed blunders by the AI, and the blue ones are moves that are okay but not the recommended ones. So red, 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 red. So it's okay to capture the knight with the knight, but it's not good, it's not recommended. And yeah, the only recommended move is bishop to e2. I'm a little proud actually that I saw that was what white really needs to do in this situation, is to get that bishop out with the plan to get castled and slow the advancement of black's forces down, and get a safer king, because with the center here crumpling, white will not be able to hold the line, and when the line breaks, all the soldiers here from the black side, they will come crashing through, and white will get checkmated. So in order to postpone that and give white a chance of some counterplay, bishop to e2 and then castles would be the plan. f1 to e2. So it does play the recommended move. So the machine built in 1979 agrees with the machine built in 2021 or 22. I'm not sure exactly when this was built. I got it in 22 and the software has just been updated, so the software is from 2022. They agree that bishop to e2 is the correct move to play here. But what will black do? Black will play bishop to d6, challenging this bishop here of whites. So let's input that move. That would be f8 to d6. And of course, capturing this is more or less out of the question. White is already down 2 pawns. That would help black a lot if black could just trade down. So I think it's a very logical move. Black can also now castle if black wants to. It's not particularly important in this situation because white's attacking formation has been completely shattered, so there is no attack coming anytime soon. But it is a sort of positional goal to be able to castle. Now black will now have that in the back and as an option. And I think a move maybe like a little depressing, but bishop to back to d3. Let's see if that's the recommended. That's not the recommended move, but bishop back to d3 could be a move to avoid exchanging and protect the d3 pawn a little bit. Let's see, it doesn't have any recommended moves with this bishop, so I guess it wants to protect it maybe with the queen. Yes, and only on c1 is the only way you can protect it, because d2 here is attacked by the knight. So queen to c1 is what the ChessUp board wants to do, and everything else is red, I guess, because you can also actually put the knight here on e5 to block this exchange. And I guess everything else is going to be red. No. Okay, there are actually a couple of options. You can also capture here first. I guess it's because you capture the knight, black recaptures, and then you either protect the bishop with queen c1 or you interpose the knight with on e4 to make sure we don't see that trade. Okay, so 3 moves that recommended by the ChessUp board. Will the chess challenger be able to find any of those, or will it be able to come up with an alternative plan that could slow black down and maybe get the ball back into white's court a little bit here, because it doesn't look super promising right now for white, although of course if I was playing black here against Kasparov or the ChessUp board, I would very much lose this position against a strong opposition with the black pieces here. So it's not as if black has an easily winning position here. f4 to e5. So it goes here. That's interesting. It's a possible move, but not a recommended one. But it does protect the bishop. And of course, now we see knight takes knight. So knight takes knight. I'm guessing we will see a quick recapture. I'm wondering how much time the chess challenger will calculate that. So we see e4 to c3. So it's starting to calculate, and I mean, it must be able to prune every other option pretty quickly, because if you do not capture the knight, if you do not capture this knight, your queen will be lost. So I mean, everything here should be red, 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 except for capturing, except for recapturing. And I mean, it's interesting how this machine here, the Chess Challenger, is programmed. If it's searching to a fixed depth and just calculating a certain amount of moves, or if it's able to prune the tree and say, okay, if I don't recapture that knight, I am going to lose my queen, and so there's no point in calculating too much other stuff and save some time and energy there. So looks like it's going to spend basically as much time as it has on all the other moves. Let's see. And we see B takes C. So that's the first piece that white captures, as you can see. And now black wants to capture this bishop. That's interesting. That is, of course, because, so let's just plot it in, d6 to e5. And that's, of course, because after the knight recaptures, we can then black can come and capture the pawn on g2. So going up another pawn for black here, and black is playing this game very, very materialistically, just capturing a bunch of pawns, not going for any sort of fancy checkmate attack or anything in particularly fancy, just some sound positional play, making sure you can't be attacked, and then grubbing up the pawns wherever you can find them, and gaining a nice material advantage. So in order to not lose the pawn on g2, black will have to capture with the pawn, and after the pawn captures, this pawn here will be isolated, and the black will not have won another pawn, but will have made a worse pawn structure. And when there's only these two guys here, it should be kind of easy to maybe try and get to an endgame and then roll these 3 pawns off the board and make a new queen. So I'm guessing we will see pawn takes bishop, and then maybe queen takes queen. I'm not sure. I don't think white's position looks exactly as hopeless as it looked. I mean, white's position, I don't think it looks exactly as hopeless as it did earlier. Although, of course, white is still down some pawns, and black's position is still very strong with this very, very strong bishop on the long diagonal. d4 to e5, yes, captures. So I guess we will now see queen takes queen, like so. Queen takes queen. And maybe here we will not see too much of a think from white, because this is of course check. So it's d8 to d1. So it's check. There's only 3 legal moves: capture with the king, capture with the bishop, or capture with the rook. I'm guessing capturing with the rook is the strongest, because yeah, that's actually the machine, the ChessUp board, also likes capturing with the king, but I think just capturing with the rook, establish a rook on this open file, is the human thing to do, of course. And we see the chess challenger thinking a lot about the situation here. Okay, not so long this time. So a1 to d1, capturing with the rook. So the machine from 79 plays a human move. That's kind of nice. And we see knight to d7 in response. That's interesting. So b8 to d7. And what's that about? Is it about this pawn here? It's protected by the knight, so maybe the plan is bishop takes knight, bishop takes bishop, then that threatens this rook, so maybe rook d8, and then this pawn is very tough to defend. So maybe the plan here for black is just to find a way to undermine this pawn. So bishop takes knight, bishop takes bishop, rook moves out of the attack, and then there's no way to protect the e5 pawn. So I think that's the very simple materialistic plan that black, in the form of this ChessUp board, has hatched against its old opponent, against its grandmother, or its forefather in the technology world of the 64 squares. So if you played chess yourself, you know, like I was taught by my father, and he wasn't a strong player or a club player or anything, he just liked to play, and I didn't know that there was a chess world, that there was chess clubs or anything like that. I didn't know that until I was in my 20s. But I remember when we were on vacation once, and I was 16, and I played chess with my father, and I beat him for the first time in my life. And that was a bittersweet experience, because like your father, your parents are supposed to be this institution in a way. Your father's supposed to be the strongest person in the world, and your parents are supposed to know everything. And I beat him in this game that's a purely intellectual game. And I was simultaneously very proud and felt I had accomplished something great, and there was also a certain melancholy to it. Okay, we see e1 to g1. Oh right, it's castles. So castles by white. That's also a recommended move. Let's see what the AI comes up with. Okay, a wholly different plan. Knight to b6 here. That is very interesting. So d7 to b6. That was something completely unexpected. I mean, of course, now that I see it, I can see that this knight can come both to a4 if it wants to attack this pawn here, and also it can come to d5 where it can never be challenged by pawns and will be extremely strong and will attack this pawn. So but it's interesting that the machine didn't want to go for the e5 pawn. Now we see d1 to d4. So coming in with a rook here, interesting. Not a recommended move, but also not a blunder according to the machine. So that rook to d1 is challenged by rook on a8 to d8. A8 to d8. So maybe white would love for black to recapture that, or to just capture here. I don't think we will see that, but I could be mistaken, because my first thought was that that white would then regain the 2 pawns in the center, but that it would create a passed pawn here. So computer likes, the ChessUp board likes to either go to g4, which is an interesting attacking idea, or it likes exchanging for the rook, or it likes to go back. And I guess yes, so a move like rook on f1 to d1 could also be strong. Then I guess after that move, black would actually kind of have to either play knight to d5 or capture with the rook. So the position is heating up now, and I think it looks superficially, at least, as if white is getting back in the game a little bit. But my money is still on black, obviously here with the 2 pawn advantage and the very strong bishop and this very nice pawn wedge and this potentially very strong knight. And castling is of course also just a move away so black has absolutely no problems at all. But white has options at least. White's pieces are doing something now. f1 to d1. Okay, then I was able to anticipate that move. Let's see what... wow, king e7. Just saying, I don't need to castle. I want to protect the d8 square with my king and with the other rook, and I'm just fine. King d7. So king on e7, I mean. King on e8 to e7. That was, yeah. And when you look at it, it looks so obvious. I just wouldn't have had that idea, I think, to just play king e7 here. But obviously, there are no dark squared bishops. White has no dark squared bishops, so you want to be on a dark square. That's nice. This piece is not going to attack you. And are we really afraid that we will be checkmated by these 2 rooks and this other knight? Not really. And of course, every endgame that we will simplify into, where we just remove all the pieces and just have the pawns left, every endgame like that will be winning for black, because again, we are up 2 pawns. So, it's such a logical move when you first consider it. and when you know that there's no tactical, when you can feel, oh, I can just say whatever I want about this move because it's strong. I know that from it's confirmed by the computer. Then it's easy to evaluate it. But it's not, it wasn't on my radar, or it wasn't among my candidate moves, I must admit. D4 to G4. Okay, that's ambitious. I think. Okay, so this move attacks the G7 pawn. We see an exchange here. So the rook to G4, then bishop takes knight. That would be B7 to F3. And now bishop takes bishop is the only logical response. You can play pawn takes bishop, but that would unnecessarily double white's pawns and make the king weaker. So I see no reason whatsoever to do that. I also see no reason to contemplate a move like rook takes G7. I think, yes, everything is a mistake. Okay, it actually thinks that you can capture with the G pawn. I guess white's position is so questionable that maybe even this rook could capture. Yeah, you could also capture here first. Because if bishop takes, no, rook takes rook, bishop takes rook, rook takes rook, bishop. Yeah, takes bishop. I'm not sure how that works out, or how that's not a mistake, but let's trust the machine. Okay, e2 to f3. Yes, we recapture with the bishop. Makes a lot of sense. And then rook takes rook check. Now that should give an immediate response. Then rook takes should give an immediate response by the chessboard here, because there's only one legal move. So that would be it would be d8 to d1. Why is it calculating? There is only a single legal move as far as I can see. F3 to d1. It actually took it some time, this machine from 43 years ago, to calculate that this was the only legal move. Amazing. And rook here. Rook to d8. h8 to d8, like so. So now the machine has sped up a lot. So it plays g4 to d4, like so. And knight from b6 to d5. Sorry for the edit, I just had to plug in some power. Let's see, d1 to f3, so goes back like so. Knight captures pawn, so it's basically all fall into bits now for the computer. So that would be D for the Chess Challenger computer, that would be D5 to C3. I guess we will see rook takes rook, D5 to D8, yes, like so. King takes rook. So we are now in an end game, E7 to D8. We are now in an end game that is pretty easily winning for black. F3 to to B7. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Going to undermine this, and just knight to B8. So that is very clever. You can see why here. So C3 to B1, and actually going to its enemy starting square. And I guess we will see bishop takes pawn on A6, and then knight takes. So let's see, F2 to F4. No, okay, wow. The point being that the knight now is protecting B5. So let's plot this in. B1 to A3. And B7 to A6. So we capture. Oops. And yeah, how are you going to stop this pawn advance here? So that would be C4 to C3. F4 to F5. Machine is just playing some pretty random moves now, looks like, or the old machine I should say. So F4 to F5 followed by E captures F5. We will plot that in. E6 to F5. And E5 to E6. Oh, it's just playing whatever to delay. It's just playing whatever to delay the queen here, coming here. So that is, of course, E6 is captured by F takes E6. So it's F7 to E6. A6 to B7. Going back like this. And advancing the pawn. So bishop B7 and pawn to B4. So that would be B5 to B4. H2 to H4. Just advancing the pawn here. That would be B4 to B3. b7 to c6. Bishop here. Okay. Then we see the ChessUp board going all the way to c2 with the pawn to c2. So that would be c3 to c2. And g1 to h2 with the king. So it won't be check. Not even making a queen, but actually playing, that's a little bit sadistic maybe, b3 to b2. So g2 to g3. And we make a queen. So it shows us here that it wants to make a queen, like so. Queen. So b2 to b1. And it just assumes I want to make a queen apparently. h2 to h3. And I make another queen here and here, and this the chess challenger didn't come with an extra queen, so I will have to make a rook like that. So that's a queen, and just give me a second, because the ChessUp board does of course come with an extra queen, and h2 to h3. Then I plot in c2 to c1. And checkmate can't be far away. c6 to f3, but that's checkmate in 2, right? Here, here, and then check, check, and you capture with the bishop, and then queen takes bishop is checkmate, right? So let's see, we plot in c1 to h1, and it will take a little bit of time, but not that long, to calculate bishop takes queen, and then queen takes bishop, and that is checkmate, and that is the game between the old computer from '79 against the modern silicon monster, the ChessUp board. I will remind you, if you want to buy the ChessUp board, you can get a 10% discount if you use my link that is in the description. It will also support this channel. I hope you enjoyed the game, and I hope I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye. And bye.